Welcome back to this build of the Strike Freedom Gundam. With the last video, I completed the entire base figure of the Gundam, and on this one, I will be starting on the wing unit. So the wing units have a really interesting but also very intricate internal mechanism that allows them to rotate and open at the same time rather than having to do all of that independently for each wing. The downside is that you have to be very careful how you put all the pieces together, how you install that internal mechanism, or else you can damage it, and that will make things more difficult, as I discovered here. I actually did make a mistake right here at the beginning of my build where I misinstalled one of the units, one of the pieces, specifically this small piece that you can see under my hand, and I ended up making it a little bit weakened. It didn't break it, and so that is something to be said for this particular unit, but I did weaken it a little bit because of my own mistake, and so you want to be careful of that. So if you can see it in here right now, it's actually supposed to go under the other gold piece a little bit, and I didn't have it seated in there in that manner. So if you're going to build this, be careful, make sure it's seated in there correctly, make sure it's actually going under the other piece. Be very careful. The other thing that kind of slowed me down in building this piece, it was constantly having to double check and triple check the orientation of all of my pieces and making sure they were going together correctly. A lot of these pieces are very similar, and you need to make sure to keep them clear, which one is which, and it makes for slightly slower going than being able to cut them out multiple at a time. And also, sometimes you have to twist things and turn things around in order to make sure they're snapping together correctly. So with these particular pieces, they're very long, very thin, and that makes them a little spindly. And that makes it a little bit difficult to shave down. You just need to be a little bit more careful and take a little bit more time in order to make sure you don't bend the piece or twist it while you're shaving your nubs off. Again, as before, you do need to take a little bit of care when shaving off along the arms of these pieces. Here we have some accent pieces that are very, very small, which of course means holding them in the pliers while I shave the remainders of the nubs off. This can be a little bit difficult if they want to twist around while you're doing it. So the best way I've found is to pull toward the pliers rather than against them. But of course, the most important thing to keep in mind is taking your time and going slow as you need to make sure that you're not going to cut yourself or gouge your piece.